Hello, my name is Eric Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about playing with amnesia. This may sound like an interesting title, but it kind of comes somewhat from an experience I had once. Um, it was many years ago, but I had woken up one morning, and as I woke up, I did not remember or recall who I was or where I was. It was a very strange experience. I woke up, looked around, and nothing seemed very familiar, and then I didn't know who I was, and a few seconds passed, maybe 10 at most, probably 5 to 10 seconds passed. And then it was almost like an echo in the back of the head. My name came to mind, Eric. And with that, the entirety of the life story and everything else came back. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Eric. And I continued on my day. Now, I've mentioned this experience off and on over the years, and I have met a few others that have had a very similar, if not the same experience, where they came to in the morning and they didn't know who they were or where they were. And we have all said kind of very similar things. Very content. There isn't any worry or anxiety of anything. You're very content. You don't know who or what you are. You don't know what you do for a living. There's no story or background at all. And there is a deep peace and a contentment in this. And so today I thought we would actually explore, almost not quite a guided meditation, but explore as experientially as you can via imagination the same or similar experience. I mean, if you kind of imagine now that you had amnesia, you did not know who you were. You didn't know your name, what you did, nothing at all. As you look around, there's no sense of mine. If you see, if there's a photo of family on the desk or whatever, you would see it, but you wouldn't recognize anyone. There's no story of those are my parents or family or anything else. That is gone. Same thing if there's photos of friends or a friend calls or visits, there would be no sense of history. I don't know who you are. It'd be as if you met them for the first time. Now, in this, you would be free of all of your past. I don't know what traumas we might have had in our past, if you're abused or bullied or whatever else, but all of that would be gone. That story wouldn't be there. In that moment of amnesia, all life story is gone. And just kind of sit with this a bit. In a moment of no life story, just having it all vanish. In imitation, imagining to be someone with amnesia, there is just nothing there. There's no past, there's no trauma, there's no successes. I mean, if you're a successful business person or you have lots of money or wealth or whatever, it doesn't matter. None of that would register as mine. There would be no history there. There would be no recognition or remembering of these great successes or fame or anything else. The good, the bad, the indifferent. It's all gone. All story, all history, gone. The past does not exist. There's nothing there. It's a clean slate starting in the moment. And in that, there is still being, there is still existence. And so instead of wondering who am I, as in what's my name, what's my role, in that, asking who or what am I really in the moment, right now. Who and what I am is right now in the moment, very apparent. And so, who or what are you? When the entirety of the past has been wiped away and forgotten in amnesia, what are you now in this moment? That's the question. You just kind of send it in silence and be aware. Now, you can't really think about it because all thought would be about past, really. If you're trying to think about who you are in terms of what was forgotten, well, no. Who you are is still here, even with everything forgotten. And so nothing in memory, nothing in life story, none of that would be who or what you really are. And so it's an interesting thing, I think, to do self-investigation, looking at who and what you really are by first having the preparatory um, exercise or experiment in playing with amnesia from the standpoint of someone who has no past, has no memory, doesn't even know their own name. Who or what are you really? And so this might offer a bit of insight into that question. So play with that. But the other thing, as I said earlier, is without the past, there is often a deep sense of peace and contentment. I mean, I know in movies and stuff, they sometimes play people as somewhat worried or, anxiety of not knowing who they are, but that isn't always the case. My own experience and others upon waking and not knowing who you are or where you are, there was no anxiety. If anything, it was almost like an interesting experience. Oh, this is novel. You just kind of look around. I mean, there's no immediate dangers. There's nothing going on, so there's nothing to fear really. And so I was just looking around when I got up. And so in noticing the weight of the emotional baggage that comes off, that there's peace, there's contentment, there's more joy and happiness, I would say, in not having all this backstory. I would say it is also worth exploring and experimenting with the idea of letting go as much of your life story, your back history, as possible. What I mean is the stuff that's still emotionally charged, the stuff that comes to the surface immediately in similar situations, the stuff that will immediately make you, I don't know, have a negative emotion in some way, where a situation happens and you're just immediately fearful, immediate hatred, whatever it might be. But there is almost a visceral reaction. It's an immediate reaction to situations because of the stored traumas and stories. And so, as much as we're able, how much of this can you just simply let go? Can you see that you would be happier without this? If you can clearly see that I am just making myself miserable, by holding on to this. I would be so much happier if I just let this go. If this was clearly seen, viscerally seen, you may able to just let it go. Now, for that which you cannot let go, you just seem to be unable to let it go. That's where you're going to have to dive into it further or even seek professional help. But basically, you're going to have to come to terms with these stories, the traumas, the abuse or bullying or whatever else that happened. If you're carrying that along and it's defining you as a person, so to speak, and it's affecting your life constantly in a negative way, you need to come to terms with this. You need to fully experience and embrace it to such a degree that you're no longer resisting or trying to escape it. You've become one with it and are able to then let go of it. Because if you can fully embrace what had happened, see it as the past. The past is past. The past is dead and gone. Why are you carrying these things from the past if it causes you so much misery, hurt, and suffering? You need to delve into them deeply and come to terms with it. So that way you can, let it go, so to speak. In particular, what I'm talking about is letting go of the emotional charge. It's not like you totally forget. I mean, as a child, I think from about kindergarten to ninth grade, I was bullied quite severely. And I know from kindergarten to about sixth grade, beaten up almost daily or every other day. But there's a memory of this. Yeah, I still remember it. But there's no emotional charge. There isn't a reaction. And even if I bumped into a bully, an old bully from the past, there isn't a reaction to them. I don't feel any ill will. I don't have any problem with them. I know there was one bully that I bumped into, I think it was during a high school reunion. And I didn't have any issue with him. Actually, he asked to talk, and funny enough, he apologized. But it was one of these things where he didn't, he apologized, and I told him he was forgiven, and don't worry about it. But he was seeking, some kind of relief. It was weighing on him. But the incident no longer weighed on me at all. I was okay with him. I was okay with the past. I had totally come to terms with it. I embraced it, and I was able to let it go as the past. There's no reason to hold on to it. There's no reason to carry it. Especially if it's going to make you miserable or suffer. Why do that to yourself? This is another potential lesson you kind of learn if you've ever experienced temporary amnesia of some kind. But without the past history, without any memory or recognition of the traumas or life story or anything that happened, there's just a feeling of lightness. You're not carrying this stuff anymore. I mean, as someone with amnesia, if you bumped into a bully, you would feel nothing, because it would be like you met them for the first time. You don't know who they are. You don't know their connection to you, because there is no you. You don't know who you are. And so it's an interesting thing to play with, and hence the title, Playing with Amnesia. Play with it a bit and what it would mean, and kind of in a engaged imagination way. What would it be like? And maybe you can get into kind of kind of a quasi state where you're able to let go of the stories for a moment to experience what it's like to be without the stories. And that might be an interesting experience in of itself. So, anyways, play with it. Tell me what you think. If you got any questions, comments, please post below. But until next time, thank you much.